I'm excited to share with you about our calls to action. These calls to action grew out of first the assessment time we did about a year and a half ago, where many members of Church of the Cross were involved in dialogue about what we value about Church of the Cross and areas that we think we can grow in as a church. We took that information, we formed a group that we called the Vision Team that considered that input we were given, considered different themes that the staff team had been praying about over the last few years, the vestry had discussed, that other leaders had discussed. And we tried to boil down all that information to some key areas where we believe God is calling us to new things and to continue to do the things we're doing. And so we're calling these the calls to action, and that captures two things. One, that our mission is not changing, right? We continue to be called to the mission God has given us from the very beginning of Church of the Cross, but there are specific ways we believe in this season that God is calling us to new things. The calls to action also hopefully captures that this is for all of us. This isn't just something that the staff team is doing or certain leaders are doing, that we're doing as a church. So we want to walk through those calls to action with you.
For these calls to action, we do have this very helpful handout. I think it's attached to this email and it'll be around the church. This has three calls and this really awesome image. The image is of a tree. It's growing up out of really Church of the Cross. The colors in the ground are stained glass windows to kind of help represent that. Our first of these calls is strengthen the core. If you're thinking about the image, it's the roots in the trunk that we are. The core is just all of our ongoing vital ministries at Church of the Cross. How do we keep improving? They're good, but we can keep growing and strengthen. A few examples for what that looks like would be, how do we keep developing and supporting our staff in further ways? And how do we then even develop, disciple more everyone else at church, our leaders, our artists, just everyone here. What we do a great process up through confirmation. What does it look like to keep being discipled throughout your whole life?
So the second category of calls to action is expand our reach. So we move from the roots to the branches. And the heart of this call to action is, how can we grow our current ministries to have a further outward focus? So one example of this would be Connected Families, which has been a ministry we've done in our children's ministry over this last year. It's a great resource for equipping parents in the hard role of parenting. We would love to see, for example, doing a Connected Families group for people outside of our church, where we can help them grow as parents and use the resources we've been given. Another aspect of expanding our reach is, how can we use the resources we have as a church to build up other churches? In our diocese, we think there are a lot of opportunities for us to support other churches in our diocese, again, in the different ways that we've grown over the last 20 years, and that we can share those resources with others.
Our third call to action is that we will explore new opportunities. With the image here, it's actually where you see the branches kind of breaking forth from the borders. That's actually one of our windows again. How are we just trying new things as a church? Prayerfully, carefully considering and discerning things, but not being afraid to take some risks and figure things out. Some examples for what it might look like to explore new opportunities are, of course, we keep finding new ways to try to minister to our immediate neighbors here in Hopkins, like the neighbors party we just did. Also thinking about a full-time ministry residency to help develop leaders here at Cross and for other churches, or even just there's an awful lot of young adults in Hopkins and the neighboring communities. How do we do intentional outreach to young adults as a church?
So growing out of these calls to action are some specific changes for some of our staff team, including for myself. So in our discussion with the Vision Team around new things that we believe Church of the Cross is being called to, one of those is there a role we can play as a church to help see churches started beyond the Twin Cities, right, in the greater region, in our diocese? And this is something that I've felt stirred and called to for a number of years. Tied into that calling to see more churches started beyond the Twin Cities is, how do we continue to raise up pastoral leaders in our diocese, right, through residencies, through fellowship programs. And so I went to our vestry with a suggestion that part of my time, current time as rector of Church of the Cross, be given to regional church planning and to strengthening leadership development in our diocese. They were agreeable to that, but for me to make that change in my role, it meant a change for Pete Burke. And so I suggested that Pete be moved into the role of executive pastor, which means that he'll give more supervision to our staff as I let go of some of those responsibilities, so I can give some more energy and focus to church planting and leadership development. So Pete's going to share a little bit more what his new role will look like.
So as the executive pastor, as Christian mentioned, I will be overseeing the church staff team at Cross now. That's really exciting. I love our staff team. They're such a great group of people, a lot of fun to work with. It'll be really great to get to support them, guide them, build into them in new ways. Also, as executive pastor, I'll be facilitating our progress on the calls to action. I don't run every one of them, but I get to help build into those who are taking a lead there, and I'll be part of vestry meetings with other responsibilities. As the executive pastor, a lot of my other responsibilities will look the same as far as confirmation process, adult ministries, preaching occasionally, pastoral care and things. The one place that does mean a big change ultimately will be our youth ministry. For now, this fall, I'll be doing just a little bit less as our great team of volunteers and leaders take on a few more responsibilities. Pam Keski remains our youth associate. She'll be taking a few more administrative responsibilities right now, and our volunteers will help with a bit more event planning. Ultimately, we will begin very shortly a process to hire a 2-year full-time resident who will work with our youth ministry and then perhaps in some other areas around church according to their strengths. This is really exciting for us. We have a great youth ministry program, really great leaders. We're excited to have someone who we can build into and who will be able to build into us. So the resident we'll be looking for will have be completing a theological degree or ministry degree, an advanced one. We'll have some ministry experience, but we'll then have lots of room and desire to join into something and get to be developed and grow with us. So I'll get to supervise them, or our other leaders will work with them, and it'll be a real fun give and take of building them up as they get to build us up.
So another staff adjustment that ties into the fulfilling of our calls to action is in regard to Pastor Andine's role. And so I came to our vestry with the proposal that we expand her role to fulfill some of these calls to action, and I believe just to strengthen our ministry as a church. So Andine's going to share a little bit more about what those new responsibilities will entail.
One of our Strengthen the Core calls to action was to revitalize the communications process. So that's where my expansion and my role is coming to play. I'm now going to be the pastor of worship arts and communication. And in this role, obviously we've done communication in the past and we've done it well, but I'm hoping to bring a new level of integration and provide some mission and vision that's going to really help tell the story of Church of the Cross well, help tell the vibrancy and the beauty that we have here at Church of the Cross in all the different ways that we communicate, whether it's digital or print or even the physical experience here within our building. Announcements, all the things like that. I'll be supervising our communication staff, Skylar, as well as hopefully building a larger team. I will also have some opportunities to provide strategic leadership or help with team development. And I will continue being the pastor of worship arts, overseeing our music ministry and Tyler Stitt, as well as the liturgical arts and the art gallery and other things like that as well.
So as you read over these calls to action, I encourage you to be praying about what is the Spirit stirring for you. I'm excited to see how the Lord continues to lead us into new things, and I'm thankful for His faithfulness to us in all the years past. And what's going on with Pete? I don't know. I have no idea what's going on, Pete. Specific changes in some of our staff responsibilities. And so one of those is for me. And so, why are you laughing? Oh, okay.